Welcome to the Earthworks Podcast, where our team will share the jargon of carbon from many of our turf friends from the past 30 years.
Welcome to another Earthworks Podcast. I'm Joel Simmons. Very excited today. I think I have the hardest working guy in golf with me, Mr. Todd Bohn, who is the Director of Agronomy at Big Cedar Golf. And anybody in the golf industry probably knows your properties. Certainly they know the Top of the Rock, which has been around forever. They've probably, hopefully, if they were smart, they got to watch the Paynes Valley Cup just a few weeks ago at the new course that Tiger Woods and you put together. You really have to, I mean, we've talked about this, but I'm overwhelmed at how busy you are. You're just going crazy. How long have you been there now? And has it been this crazy since you started?
Well, Joel, good to be with you. Hi to everybody. And yes, I've been down here since January of 2016. It's continually built the steam of busyness for me as our owner, Johny Morris, has continued to work on projects and fine-tuning things around here. And, you know, building 3 new golf courses on a property is a lot.
Yes, I'd say.
There's a lot of moving parts.
In a few years.
But it's been a lot of fun. It's been very rewarding. There are a lot of hours spent down here, but a lot of it is time spent with him individually, walking the site and letting him put his touches. And it's really cool to see a man so passionate and so driven to get people outside, to build quality. And it's just, I'm very fortunate to have been a part of that. And this year has been a unique year with everything that's happened this year, with the COVID, the pandemic issue, and, staffing issues down here have been a huge issue for us. We were short 32 people right off the gate that we usually get with H-2B workers when this thing all hit. And so that hit us like right in the spring, right off the get-go. And, I knew we had this looming opening of Paynes Valley, our Tiger Woods course, hanging in the air. But then come about, June, middle of June into June, got word that we had signed a deal to host 2 PGA Tour Champions events in August. And we had 5 weeks to prepare.
2. Not 1, 2.
Not 1, but 2. Two different golf
6 weeks to prepare for.
2 different golf courses in about 5 weeks. So I had a really, really cool learning experience being on the inside and just kind of seeing how all that kind of came to fruition in that short amount of time. But yet I knew my team, we had to get to work and get after it. And I'm so blessed to have great guys with me. A strong team, and it showed this year, being under the situation circumstances, that we were under, and being able to pull together and put together and host, in essence, 3 huge events for Big Cedar. Probably the 3, we've hosted the Legends of Golf here for the last 5 or 6 years, at Top of the Rock and at Buffalo Ridge. And then we've had it at Ozark's National, or Fort Crenshaw, Mountaintop. So it's made its rounds. But something about this year with the eyes on golf and primetime golf, and Phil Mickelson making his debut at our resort, on the Champions Tour, his first one, and then the Tiger Woods event, the Paynes Valley Cup. We've had a really monumental year in the face of adversity this year at Big Cedar, and it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of hard work, as you alluded to.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, I mean, that list is almost tiny compared to what you and I have talked about over the last number of months. But let's go back and talk a little bit about your boss, who I know you have the utmost of respect for. Actually, in all disclosure, before we got on, you took a call from Johny. But Johny Morris is a fascinating guy and has quite a history. I mean, give us a little backbone on where Johny came from and how we built. I mean, for those who don't know, Big Cedar Resort, Big Cedar Golf is probably one of the premier destinations for golf. I mean, you've got I would say in square footage, probably the best golf in the free world between all those courses that you've been involved. And and many people have seen Top of the Rock. I mean, it's a spectacular visual golf course. I mean, it may not be it may not be the world's greatest golf course in terms of championship ability, but it's fascinating. It's beautiful. Obviously, I've had the pleasure and privilege to hang out with you up there, and the work you've done. I mean, I'm a huge Core Crenshaw fan. I love Ozark National. But let's go all the way back to the beginning. Tell me the Johny Morris story as well as you can, because I don't know that everybody knows really who Johny is, and he's got quite the resume on under him right now.
He is, and I won't do him justice. I'll hit the highlights.
Yeah,
but yeah, John grew up in Springfield, Missouri, which is just 40 minutes north of us here. His father owned a liquor store up there called Brown Derby, which Brown Derbies are still around now in Springfield when you go up there. And John always had a passion to hunt and fish and outdoor. They were outdoors guys. They grew up fishing the White River down here, which is Table Rock Lake now. After the Corps dammed the rivers up and built the lake down here. It's a Corps built lake. It's about a 48,000 acre lake, somewhere close to that. So it's a big lake, big recreational lake. So a lot of people come down, but John had a true passion to be outside, and he went to college. He was I think he went to MSU for a little bit, and then he went to Drury, and he was always in and out of college. He'll tell you he wasn't great, probably a great student all the time, but because he was out fishing and doing things. But to make a long story short of his childhood, he grew up, and then he figured out how to make a lure, and he was making lures, and he was fishing on the bass tour. He got good enough that he was starting to fish on this bass tour with people and professionally, and he started making these lures and figuring out how to do it. And then his dad decided, well, why don't you set up a little shop here in the corner of my liquor store? And so I think he had like 400 square feet. I can't remember the exact thing, but square footage back in the back corner.
In the liquor store, inside the liquor store.
Inside the liquor store. And
you come in, you get your bottle of bourbon, and you grab some lures.
That's right. I mean, what else would you need, right? You go down to the lake.
You got it all. You're ready to fish.
And so people started coming in specifically for it, and and they started growing. And then he put his first catalog out in like 1971, and the rest is kind of history. I mean, it's the true American dream.
Yeah, really true.
Rags to riches story, and just totally humble man, genuine man, caring man, passionate. His passion exudes into his people, and everybody works hard down here, and we're not flush with people all the time or anything, but people aren't afraid to jump in and help. And I think that's part of the family aspect. That's part of the Johny Morris and his family. It's a huge company because we're run by Bass Pro, but it feels like a family organization still, even though you're working for a big corporation.
Yeah.
And I've been privileged to spend a lot of time with him and out on the golf course in his truck. He drives a beat up truck. Some people know the story of Sam Walton. I don't know if people know the story, but that John and Sam Walton were friends. And when you hear the story of Sam Walton with Walmart, they're cut from the same loincloth.
Yeah.
It's really amazing. And just I got sold to come work for him, and I came down and talked to him, and he told me his story and I did it no justice with what I just talked to you guys about.
I'm sure of that.
To have him
Not
tell
that
it
it wasn't a good
whatever.
story. Yeah.
You're just like, you want to come work for this man, and you want to do it, and it's just and now his passion has turned. He is very passionate about this golf. And
is he a golfer? Is he actually a golfer?
He plays, and he
does play. I mean, I know it's a big fish.
He's never practices, but he
of course
he plays, and he's pretty good. But he is so into building a legacy for people to enjoy down here in the outdoors, with Big Cedar and Dogwood Canyon. And the list goes on and on and on and stuff that he has. And
So for those who don't know, I mean, Johny Morris started Bass Pro Shop, and a couple years ago he bought the Cabela franchise. So he owns the combination of those, probably the two greatest fishing, hunting, camping outlets in the country right now. And then he's really taken it on. And if you folks don't know Big Cedar Golf, Big Cedar Resort, you're in Branson, Missouri. Truly one of the greatest golf destinations, and you've been very gracious to me a few times when I've come down. I've had the opportunity to stay in the resort. It's first class. I mean, it's spectacular. I mean, I remember going down with Kirk Castor, my agronomist from the area, and we're driving around the lake. I think we were lost actually, but we're looking for our cabin, and we're like, where are we? Driving down this dirt road, and we get to our assigned cabin, and we walked in, and it was like, wow, this is unbelievable. I mean, it was beautiful, big fireplace, all wood, sitting on the lake. I mean, I was just ready to stay there for the rest of my. You guys unfortunately kicked me out, or fortunately kicked me out, but it was really quite impressive. But I've been working with you now since, I guess, you pretty much got there, and you and I've worked together on a lot of different construction projects. Certainly the most notable is that Core Crenshaw course, the Ozark Nationals, which I think is spectacular. And I'm biased to Bill Core's work, but you've done some stuff. But let's start with the Top of the Rock, because I think a lot of people know that property. Talk about the tournament and what it is. But one of my favorite stories that I think you have to tell us is I guess it was the putting green. Is that what that hole in the ground was at one point? So
yeah,
tell the story of the Top of the Rock and then the hole. Go for it.
Well, top of the rock is kind of where everything started for John in golf.
And Todd, not to interrupt, but was this the lake you were just referring to that he was fishing on as a kid?
Yes.
So he ended up buying the lake that he grew up fishing on.
I can't remember the exact date, but he bought Big Cedar Lodge. It was a rundown, kind of older resort that was actually here, and it was actually a farm. The Warman family owned it, and it had a house on it, and that's what now is the Warman House restaurant down here. And it had a guest house, and it was a farm. It was a family farm. And John bought the resort back in like the 80s, early 80s, and it was pretty rundown. And his idea with it is he was going to have a place, because he was getting into the boat business. He was just getting ready to start just started the tracker boat business.
Right.
And
tiny little business that's not doing so well these days.
Yeah. And he was looking for a way to let people come down and stay and try out boats, ironically. And so that's kind of how Big Cedar, and it's grown into just a 5-star resort that and his touches are all over it with cabins and private rooms and restaurants. And I think there's like 9 restaurants on campus and convention center. Has a convention center and hold like 1,000 people. But so that's where Big Cedar started, was down there with him buying it. And he'll tell a story that his wife didn't want him to buy this place because it was too run down, and she thought there was a better place, and he ended up buying it. But anyway, really cool story that he tells. I just don't know enough about it. Right?
Yeah, that's all right. But it's
Top of the Rock was an existing golf course that was here and being run, and it was real close to the resort, and John bought it and then shut it down for about 12 years. And so Top of the Rock was nothing like that you'll see it now when John bought it. It was just the golf course and like a clubhouse, and it had the old Osage house, which is what's sitting up there, which is the Osage restaurant.
Right. Yep.
And the Osage house was the house of a gentleman that was with the College of the Ozarks. I don't know if anybody's heard of the College of the Ozarks. It's right here. It's a school that's right here
you've told
next to us. That is a very hard school to get into. Kids go to school, they work for their education, and they graduate debt free. And so he was the owner or the president of the school, the guy that had this Osage house. But anyway, so Top of the Rock set right there around this house. They bought it, turned it into a pro shop and done things and whatnot. And then John bought the place, totally renovated it, called in the Nicholas team. The Nicholas team had built the golf course before, but came in and made changes with John with flashy bunkering, rock features. It used to be zoysia grass and like a natural, more native natural area. And now we're all bent grass, cool season grasses over there. John's enamored with Augusta National. He loves Augusta National.
Okay,
So that's where the influence for Top of the Rock came from, the bunkering, turf conditions. There's flower. I mean, I have 2 full-time horticulturalists over there because there's just miles of around that whole par 3. It's a big, huge botanical garden. I mean,
it really is. It's a horticultural delight.
And so all of that, but it was shut down for 12 years, renovated it, added on to build a museum in the basement, huge natural, John's personal collection of Indian artifacts and natural history. It is out of this world if you're into that stuff. It is absolutely.
He shut that down for 12 years? I did not know that. So 12 years he was working on the whole footprint of that property.
And, one of the key components to Top of the Rock is the old Arnie's barn. There's a barn that came off of Arnold Palmer's farm from Latrobe, Pennsylvania. John had some carpenters that would go, and they took the barn down. It's built with no metal bolts. It's all dowel rodded.
Yeah.
It's an old traditional. It's a really cool barn. And went and took it down in Latrobe, hauled it here, reassembled it here. It's now the pro shop for the golf course, and then upstairs it's a restaurant. It's called Arnie's Restaurant. And it's a lot of golf theme. There's a lot of Arnold Palmer and Jack Nicklaus and Tom Watson in there.
The old guys.
It's really cool. John had a very good relationship with Arnold Palmer. Very, very, very strong friends. And Jack, there's a replica of a huge marlin that Jack caught behind the bar. So there's a lot of really cool stuff in there.
I've seen that. I didn't realize that Jack, he caught that.
Yeah.
On the, that's probably with Johnny, I'm guessing, right?
I don't know that for sure.
Wouldn't be surprised.
But chances are it could have been probably.
So what is the rock outcropping? I mean, not just this property, but all of your properties have this amazing rock outcroppings, and that's really part of the signature of Top of the Rock, but also your newest venture at Paynes Valley. I mean, you've got across the entire properties that you own this incredible rock outcropping. How would you describe that? First of all, what is the rock? And
it's limestone.
It's all limestone, but it's
all limestone. It's shelfy rock. It's just been around forever. And we basically, my boss has got a real keen eye for knowing where good rock is. And you start uncovering it, and you just keep going, and it's ledgy and it's pretty, and you start giving what nature wants you to have. And I didn't finish earlier, but you were alluding to the big sinkhole that happened. Where you were asking where the putting green fell in, and that happened the spring before I got here. It happened in March of 2015. I got here in January of 2016. So I saw it, and they had already started excavating. The stories I hear, I wasn't here, but the stories I hear is people were freaking out when it happened, because it was like a 40 by 60 foot hole when it initially happened. And there was a big lake that sat next to this Himalayan putting green that Tom Watson had built, that modeled off the Himalayan green that was in, that's out in St. Andrews. It had a bunch of humps and bumps for people to go practice putt on. And this lake kept leaking, and they couldn't figure out where the leak was until that one morning when the sinkhole happened, and everybody saw it on national news. And, they said it was on the golf course. It wasn't on the golf course itself. It was on the actual driving range, the Arnold Palmer driving range that was sitting there.
But didn't it happen the morning after the tournament?
No, it was before the tournament. The tournament
was it? Okay.
It was usually in April, and the sinkhole happened in March. And so anyway, now it is a 200-foot hole by Lord knows how wide. I don't even know the width of it that we've excavated. And the funny story goes is, everybody at Big Cedar was calling John that morning going, "Oh crap, we had a sinkhole, we're in trouble," or whatever. And he says, "Don't do anything with it. I'm coming there. We're going to excavate this thing out. We're going to make it into something." So everybody was worried that
before he even saw that.
So issue, and he didn't even flinch. I mean, just boom, we're going to go. There's something, he's into caves, he's into rock features, water. So in his mind, he was thinking there was a cave there because the water came out down in the lake about a half mile down the way, out of a cave that he actually coincidentally owns already. And
Of course.
so he's looking for a connection of a cave, and we're still working on that. I can tell you, they're still working on the sinkhole.
Oh, really?
It's now called the Cathedral of Nature.
Oh,
After all the work that's been done,
yeah.
it's stunning. It's absolutely stunning. I don't get over there a whole lot to get in it. I got enough to keep me busy with what I'm doing. That's somebody else's project, but I've been down in there with John a couple evenings. It's absolutely stunning. The natural rock beauty and the formations and the connection and just.
What are they doing with it?
I think eventually one of these days you're going to be able to take. We got a big cart trail that
Okay.
at top of the rock that you drive and you get a bar in a cave at the bottom. You go in a cave, you get a bar drink, or you can keep going. And eventually that cart trail is going to tie in with this, and this is going to be the climactic ending to that cart trail, which is going to be really cool. But the guy's got a vision like no other, and he can make. He's unbelievable, and so that's kind of the story at Top of the Rock. And then obviously we got the par 3 9-hole Top of the Rock, the first par 3 golf course ever been used on the PGA Tour. And
great event. I mean, always a yearly event. Back to that hole. I remember the first time I came there and saw that. And it's Grand Canyon-esque. I mean, it's massive. And I remember at the very bottom, and I wasn't sure what it was. It looked like a toy, but it was an excavator. I mean, that's how deep this hole is. It looked this big, this tiny, what is that thing down there? Oh, that's a huge excavator. And it's on the bottom of the hole. And I haven't been there probably for over a year. And from everything I've heard and what you just said, the thing is even more spectacular than it was when I first saw it.
Yeah, it continues to grow and develop, and we'll see what the ending spot's going to be.
So the Top of the Rock, it's the Legends of Golf tournament, and it was the first par 3 on the PGA Tour. Is that how you describe that?
That's correct.
Yeah.
And I give John credit. The par 3 courses now, there's a lot of resorts, a lot of places building par 3s, and John was a forward thinker on that. I kind of attribute him to being one of the pioneers of that, to making that a popular thing, and wasn't scared to try it out, and wasn't scared to do it. And he had a show pony, is what I call it, Top of the Rock, to do it with. And you won't find it more breathtaking views.
No, I agree.
It's a challenge for my team to maintain that golf course.
I'm sure of that.
It's being all cool season in the climate that we're in down here, and some of the soils that we have to grow on. But it's a really special place. And
you have just one guy. Justin Thomas is the only guy. I mean, that's his whole focus is that par 3 Top of the Rock.
Yeah, it's a unique property. We have him, and then we have about 12 workers that work on it. People are going to say, goodness, that's a lot of people on a par 3 course for 9 holes. And it is, but at the same time, if you see the property, it is all handwork. There's not a lot of machine work. I mean, it encompasses about 20 to 20, like around 22 acres. And then I've already talked about the botanicals and the plants.
Yeah, horticulture.
It's horticulture it's pine trees and oak trees and maple trees. And, it's just all handwork everywhere. And
so is it still true that when folks come down to spend a couple of days playing golf at Big Cedar, everybody wants to get a shot at the Top of the Rock? I mean, is that still, I think you told me this once, and I'm not sure if it's still true, but it was hands down your most popular golf property.
Yeah, that may be
starting to
a little bit to a couple others that we're probably going to talk about here, but it is definitely the show pony. It is what put Big Cedar on the map. It's what put John on the map in golf, and it's definitely still bucket list place for people. I mean, you look it up on the internet, and the views and the pictures, and it's stunning. Like, I call it Disney World of golf.
It's a good description.
and
Very good.
And I've been to Augusta. I've been fortunate to be to Augusta, and I don't say this because I take care of the place and it's here on my property, but it is the second closest. I'm not going to say it's Augusta. We have way long ways to go to be Augusta.
It's tough
I'm
to
going to
be.
say it's dang close.
Yeah.
And it's just a miniature version of it. It's little
Yeah.
brother.
So you get there, obviously the top of the rock is already up and running. Buffalo Ridge was already built?
Yeah, so Buffalo Ridge was built in the late '90s, and it was owned by another developer out here. And it was formerly known as Branson Creek. It's a Tom Fazio design golf course. Absolutely incredible golf course.
Beautiful place. Beautiful course.
We have a cult following on that place that
Oh, really?
I've heard a lot of people tell me, and I haven't toured a lot of Fazio's work. Like I haven't been around, but there's a lot of people that tell me that that's got to be one of Fazio's top five golf courses. I hear all the time how fun it is to play.
I would agree with that.
And just how it's built. It's kind of built down in the valleys, and it's got some beauty to it. But obviously, John bought that place. What's it been? Gosh, he had just maybe he's owned it for maybe 7 years, and bought it, shut it down for just a little while. Went in, typical John. Went in, found rock outcroppings.
Right.
Exactly. You're gonna catch a theme here, but found rock outcroppings, added water features. There's a ton of water features on that property.
So most of those water features that are there now were not there when he bought it?
Some of them were, a couple of them were, but he enhanced them and made them way better than what they were. And they were good before. But the property had been managed before by Troon Golf, and John bought it and put it in. And then they hosted the very first Bass Pro Legends on Buffalo Ridge and Top of the Rock. And there's some stories that there was work going on until the night before.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Going on. I wasn't here for it. I missed that one. But anyway, it's a spectacular place. It's we've got a lot of different grass types there. We've got zoysia grass fairways there. We've got some Bermuda there on some traffic areas. We've got fescue bluegrass in the rough. I'm managing original putting greens on that golf course. They're Cato Crenshaw putting greens. So they're getting up there in age, and hopefully one of these days we'll hopefully be renovating those to match everything else that we got. Which is T1 bent grass is what I have everywhere else. And,
is it true that Ben Crenshaw hates the Crenshaw grass? You've gotten a chance.
I never asked him. I never
I've
asked
heard that story. I don't know if it's true. I've said it before, but I've heard that he said to a number of people, like, of all the grasses, you have to name this one after me. I mean, but so you'll probably find a way to get that out of there and go to your T1.
Yeah. It's time. I mean, Buffalo Ridge needs some. We're gonna hopefully we get all these new projects done.
Yeah. I was gonna say, because you don't have enough to do right now, you might as well go rip up some green.
Yeah, we got some infrastructure things, irrigation and some things that need to be updated and looked at. But it is an absolutely stunning golf course. He put in these unbelievably covered bridges that were built out of oak that are just stunning, and water features. And like I said, we still have people, even with our new ones, that tell us that's our best golf course.
Really?
We do.
Yeah.
It is packed all the time.
Yeah.
And people love that place.
Yeah. I actually got to play that last time I was down and loved it. Of course, it ate up a lot of balls for me, but as anybody knowing me in golf, it's not the friendliest thing, but it's a spectacular property, and it really is quite nice. So what was your first, so you got there, those are the only two courses there.
Mm-hmm. So I took over management of those and oversee the operation of the maintenance. That's right. And then
what came after that one? What was the next project?
The next one is they had just started clearing the land when I got down here in January for our Gary Player design mountaintop par 3 13-hole golf course. People are going to say another par 3, and I'm going to say absolutely another par 3.
I love it. I think it's great.
It is a very unique, and it is. I still think it may be close to my favorite.
Really?
Par 3 13.
Are you allowed to say favorite?
I don't.
It's like having children.
All of them are spectacular, but I love the experience up there.
Yeah.
I love it's walking only,
Yeah.
Which is a different concept for people with Gary Player with his fitness regime and stuff. You want to walk. John was on board, walk in nature, get out in the middle of nature and experience it. The views up on top of this ridge are just breathtaking. The valleys below and everything. And then it's a very unique golf course how we built it. It's 100% sand cap. It's all zoysia grass, wall-to-wall zoysia grass. So we have no cool season rough on it. And then it's got T1 bent grass on the greens. So we go zoysia grass, and then we got a Lynx blend native outside of that. And it's very family friendly. It was built for a family golf course. There's tees all the way up, but they're not formal tees. It's like leveled off areas in the zoysia, and it's very rustic, very elegant. Just a really cool property. And it's got Johny Morris touches on it. We uncovered a rock cliff, as I said. You'll understand a theme.
Rocks everywhere. And beautiful, beautiful bridges.
Yeah, and you climb through the rock on bridges that he built out of metal and see through, and you get to get up close to the limestone and do things. And it's just a really cool experience up there. And that golf course has got every shot value on a par 3. The holes measure from 220 yards down to 80 yards. And so you use a lot of your clubs, different shots, got some teeth to it, got some challenge to it. It's just a really good compliment to our resort for golf. And people ask me, they say, why is it 13 holes? Why isn't it 9 holes, or why isn't it 12 holes? And I say, why not 13? So,
good answer. Is there a real answer to this? Is there what?
There really isn't. I mean, that to be honest, the answer is that's what the land gave us right there. And
we ran out of property.
And that's what we did to get back to the clubhouse. I mean, we fit 13 holes in there. And you could go, then the marketing genius of my boss comes through, and it's like, Baker's dozen, lucky 13, hole in one, so you can go, but it's just a really stunning place in the evenings, and the clubhouse that sits up there is just absolutely awesome, and just a sense of arrival. And then out in front of that, we have a Tom Watson putting practice area, which we recreated the Himalayan green that was over at top of the rock that went down the sinkhole, and brought it out here to this area where all the golf courses are. And I don't know if people understand, but top of the rock and where Buffalo Ridge and all the new courses are 10 minutes apart. So we're 10 minutes north of the resort. Top of the rock sits real close to Big Cedar Resort, and then we're 10 minutes north where all the new stuff is. And so we moved that out here, the Himalayan, and recreated Mr. Watson, who's a dear friend of mine from my days in Kansas City. I got to work with him, which was a lot of fun, and put a little thing together there, which is really cool.
Did you bring him into this project?
No, him and John were friends already.
Okay.
He had built the one that was over there at top of the rock, and so being able to work with him in my career is like one of the check mark things for me, even though it was on a little.
We didn't talk about this, but talk about where you were in Kansas City. I mean, you have a pretty lengthy career prior to even getting down here, even though this is such a great conversation. Where were you in Kansas City? And then we'll come back to this.
So I'm a graduate of Kansas State University, and I interned in Kansas City at Blue Hills Country Club for a guy by the name of Dave Ferris, who was GCSA president back in the day. And I met a lot of good people, and through Dave. Yeah. And I met a guy by the name of Woody Moriarty, who's still, I talk to him daily. He's my mentor and my friend. And I went to work for him at Hillcrest Country Club, which is a Donald Ross, the only Donald Ross course in the Midwest, which is there in Kansas City. And I was the assistant there for a while. And then I followed Woody to Blue Hills Country Club. He took over for Dave Ferris. So he worked for Dave like I did, and then took over for Dave when Dave retired.
There's a pattern here too, isn't there?
Yeah. And then so I went to work for Woody at Blue Hills. And then I wanted to get tournament golf experience. And that's when the Champions Tour was coming to Kansas City. And I went to work at Nicholas Golf Club at Lionsgate for a fellow by the name of Jeff Eldridge, who now people say Jeff, Woody, and I are kind of like the Three Stooges.
Yes,
we're very close friends. Our families are close. And so I worked there for a couple of years with Jeff. And then I got the opportunity of my first superintendent gig to do a construction growing job in Kansas City for Cooper Land Development out of Arkansas. at a place called the Golf Club at Creekmore. It's a huge housing development, and I convinced them to hire me, a young guy, and give me the reins on growing, which really taught me a lot. And I had Jeff Eldridge, who had just done Lionsgate growing. So I probably wore that number out to him. He was like, go away through some of that. But
He never answered your call, I'm sure, knowing Jeff.
but I got that job, and I was there for about 7 years, 6-7 years. And had the opportunity to go to Wolf Creek, which is an all men's private club in Kansas City there.
Yeah, that's a nice property.
And very, very good. A lot of good players at that place. And that's where I met Tom Watson and developed a friendship. He lives real close to the golf course there. I was fortunate enough to spend time with him at his personal property, helping him with a putting green he had there, and grew in a relationship with him. And then I had the opportunity, got a call to come down here. And so I guess the rest is history.
It must have been a bit overwhelming when you pulled into town. And did you know that they were talking about building 3 new golf courses when you first came on board? Was that part of the strategy when you joined this team?
Yes.
Yeah. So you knew that you were walking into the lion's mouth with this thing, knowing that you were going to never see your wife and daughter again, and you really haven't since you've been here. Do they even know who you are at this point in your career?
Hopefully they do. Lately I've been here a lot. I've been seeing a lot of other people here a lot. But yes, I had known that there was going to be 3. I didn't know who the architects were all going to be at that time.
Oh, really?
But
Okay.
There was talks of 3, and he had property for 3, and his plan was for 3.
You knew Gary Player was involved in Mountaintop.
I knew Gary Player. I knew Gary Player, and I knew the Core Crenshaw folks.
Oh, you did? Okay, so that was already in the.
I did know them. I just didn't know the last one.
So let's talk about the Ozark. I mean, the Core Crenshaw course is, I think, spectacular. Again, I am biased, but let's talk about that property. I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, it's got great views, and you had your challenges on that, and walk us through that project and where you are with it now.
Well, first of all, I can't stress to your listeners, if there's young people listening, this is sage advice. I'm starting to become one of the older.
The wise old man. I like it.
But network, because you never know when that network is going to come back.
Yeah.
And get you. So to that point, when I'm in Kansas City, through a mutual friend of mine, and through Tom Watson as well, is part of the reason why I'm down here. But through a mutual friend of mine, I get a call from Bill Core one day, and so I can't express to you how cool that was.
I bet. I'm waiting for the call myself.
And I'm hearing about, and to hear that guy on the other end of the phone, and to be able to spend time with 2, I can't overstate this. Him and Ben are 2 of the most first class individuals I've ever been around in my life in anything. And just being able to work with those 2 guys and to get to know them, to have Bill Core call John Morris and on a whim, a little old boy like me in Kansas City, was just fascinating, and I'm forever grateful to that.
Oh, so Bill Core is the one who introduced you to Johny?
He's one, yes.
Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes. Yeah. So he is one of the reasons why I'm down here. And it's just real humbling. You work hard and you try to network. So my point is network, and don't miss those opportunities.
Don't ever burn the bridge. Don't burn the bridge.
You never know. But Ozark is a stunning property, built on the ridge, and it's Bill and Ben's. It challenged them a little bit, I think. The land over there is different than where they built a lot of their golf courses. Bill said that people think that we build just down on sandy areas and duney areas and it's not. And watching those 2 and watching how that all is done is absolutely fascinating and stunning. I've been a part of down here. I've got to see a lot of different ways to build golf courses, and I've been around a lot of different techniques on how to build golf courses. And how they build Ozark is a unique way, and how they go about their thing. And they're pretty attuned to how they do it, and they got it to an art, man. Those shapers that they got that work for them, Jimbo and Jeff Bradley's of the world, and we had Keith Rev on our site. We had Riley Johns on our site. Just the quality of people that they bring in here. Jim Barger was our construction manager who was on site, and a lot of people know Jim, who was with Landscapes Unlimited forever and knows everything in golf. And John Hawker was our design consultant. And just, you look at the quality of people that they surround themselves with and that come in and do it. And that speaks volumes to Ben and Bill's person and character of who they are. But just being able to see them in action and how they do things, you understand why their work is such high quality and such top notch, and why they get all the accolades they do. They're if not the best too, they're right up in there. But that golf course is built environmentally friendly. It's all zoysia grass, one cut, topsoil, cap all over everywhere, which is a different thought to me. They wanted to surface drain a lot of things and didn't want to take things underground, which is what I'd always been around, is getting the water into a catch basin as soon as you can. But it's a strategy of playing their golf courses that they do that for.
And that was Bill's design. That was Bill's work. That was the architectural design. Was that whole concept?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
They wanted the ball. They wanted the ball to play on the ground.
Right. That makes sense.
And to bounce and to roll, and and this is where we haven't even talked about earthworks a whole lot, but
no, let's not.
but this is where, honestly, I'm not blowing smoke because I'm on a deal with you, but this is where that product really came into work for us. My superintendent Juan Berrigan over there has been with me forever. Yeah. And he's done a masterful job. He does a masterful job with it. Yes. And we can cut the inputs down on that place because of the heavy soils. We can lean stuff down. We can play it on the ground. Bill was very hesitant with me when we started speccing grasses. In this climate where we're at, we're not privileged to to be able to use some of the grasses that they're normally able to use. We get cold winters and we get really hot summers, and we have high humidity coming up. And
not an easy place.
It's not an easy place. It's transition zone to a T. We're on the southern end of the transition zone.
But you're still transition. You're almost into City St. Louis.
But just being able to maintain feeding biology, doing things on that golf course, managing it, leaning it, getting it grown in properly, starting from down is really what you see out there today.
We did a lot of construction amendments when you were doing that, but you guys were pretty much leading that show, and you understood it as we were. I remember sitting down with you for the first time and being very impressed with the knowledge base. You guys understood the whole concept of biological soil management, and you knew that if you were investing in this up front, you would be a long-term return on that investment, and it's clearly shows.
Yeah, that place, Bill was like, the thing with Myers zoysia is it plays sticky, it plays Velcro, and it does, in a lot of places. And I had to convince Bill that we could manage it differently and make it play differently than what he's seen it. And
how long was that conversation? How long did that?
It was over the course of the whole project.
Oh, so you were working this hard. You were working.
I hope we don't regret this. And,
Great.
So, I feel like we've done it. We've passed it with flying colors. I feel like.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful.
And the Champions event that played on it, just raving about it. We held the Missouri Amateur. People were like, "Is that zoysia grass? You can't tell me that that's zoysia grass."
Yeah.
It's
Bill has a reputation of walking, vacant property for a while before he starts really scratching. I tell this story often. He built Friar's Head up in Long Island, and when I first was introduced to that property by Bobby Rainham, who was a longtime superintendent at Atlantic, he shows me this little strip. The North Fork of Long Island is old potato land, and it's flat and it's ugly, and he drives me up to this and says, "Yeah, look at this. This is gonna be the greatest golf course." And I'm looking, I'm like, Bobby, this is a piece of flat potato land. I mean, this is horrible. It's a horrible piece of land. You go, no, that's not going to be the golf course. It's going to be the dunes. And I'm like, the dunes? He's going to build a golf course. He walked that property with a sketchbook for 3 months. And if anybody's ever been out to Friars Head in Long Island, it is a spectacular Bill Core testimony. And I, did he do that same kind of process? Did he walk? Because that property is hilly, and I can't even imagine what it looked like before you guys really started breaking ground. I think I got there after, you'd already pretty much cleared it, the little bit of clearing you had to do. But did he spend a lot of time sketching that out and working that?
Him and my boss.
Of course,
Johny
I should have
Morris,
known better. Of course.
They hiked those hills.
I bet.
All the time.
Yeah.
A guy by the name of Dave Axlin that was with Bill and Ben did a lot of work in this area, hiking those hills, laying golf courses out. There were several routing layouts, as you hear. I mean, not as many as sand hills that I hear from sand hills, but we had several holes that they had laid out that they ended up ultimately not building.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
The routing, yeah, there were some routing corridors and some holes that they felt like what we have now is better. And
yeah.
I'm not one to judge by that, because what we have now is absolutely awesome to me. And
I think it's spectacular. Yeah.
And that golf course is it's just really special. It's very simple, not a lot of water on it. Got some trees on it in some spots, but open. The greens are infinity greens with views to die for off the back. I talk about the environmental footprint of that golf course and Gary Player's golf courses. That's an important thing right now. And one thing that I don't know if we've talked about, Joel, but Big Cedar is currently myself and my team are working on with John as well to become the only facility in virtually the world to be Audubon certified. All 5 signature sanctuary certifications done. Our goal is to have it done by 2021, sometime in 2021. And so we take that serious around here, with what we use, and that's, a lot of the product we use from you and stuff we use it feeds right into our mission there. Probably 80% of what we do is organic based around here. Yeah. And I believe in it. I've seen the results of it. Thatch breakdown to turf health, to turf roots, to recovery, stress recovery, to you name it. And I mean, the testament to that was we hosted the Champ Tour here this year in the middle of August 17th through August 26th. I had greens at Buffalo Ridge that are 30-year-old greens that in the middle of summer, usually around here is like armpit weather. Like it's disgusting. And and the testament to my guys and my team and to our programs that we pass those tests with flying colors and we're able to produce play. And then all of a sudden we have 150 players on after that, coming right after it. So it's not like we had a break anywhere. And the greens at Ozark's National as well were just phenomenal. And they play so true and so well. And I just think I've heard this analogy of it being on a stool. You take one of the bar stool legs away and the stool. So to attribute it to all one thing is probably you can't do. And the weather is a big factor in that too. But anyway, I feel like our program and how we approach things is a strong program for success around here.
We've been running a whole bunch of soil tests for all your guys. I know Juan does a lot, Aaron does a lot. Steve certainly has been doing a whole bunch, but just monitoring, that 3-legged stool you're talking about, chemistry, physics, and biology. And as long as you keep them all standing, you don't fall off your stool. And you fall off your stool, you spill your beer, and you don't want to do that. So, you guys have been great. Let's talk about Paynes Valley, because I think a lot of people saw that recently. It's a unique property, man. I mean, and you of course got the 19th hole, which I know is probably causing you a lot of headaches right about now, but it was a phenomenal, to see that on TV, and I haven't been out there for about a year now, I guess, but to see that finished property, and how long was that in construction? You were working on that for a
3 years.
Yeah.
It's
So
a
that was quite a property. Tell us about
monster project. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. You lost some hair on that one. That's
I've got some gray.
okay, good. I was gonna say you're wearing the hat just to prove, to hide that. But tell us about Paynes Valley and the process on that. So this is a Tiger Woods property, and again, same rock. I mean, the rock cropping is unbelievable.
Yeah. So Paynes Valley is Tiger Woods' first public access golf course in the U.S. So we were super excited to get it open. It was like the project that would never quit.
Something
3-year construction project. It was a lot. There was a lot of changes made down there. You know, a funny. I'm going to revert back a minute.
Go ahead.
Kind of just a funny story about Ozarks National to Paynes Valley. We didn't have to use one stick of dynamite or one rock saw or rock hammer building Ozarks National, putting in drainage, irrigation, everything. You're going to go, how is that even possible?
Yeah, really.
I had Bill Coor, Ben Crenshaw, and Matt Janella in the truck with me one day at the grand opening of Ozarks. And we were going to meet John to do something. And I kiddingly said this to Janella with the two jokers in the back, you know, Ben and Bill. And I said, this land knew that John Morris and Bill Coor and Ben Crenshaw wanted to build a golf course.
We're going to come here.
To Bill and Ben's minimalistic approach, you know, with moving earth and moving, you know, we moved less dirt at Ozarks National than we did on the Gary Player 13-hole par 3.
Wow, that's unbelievable.
And so that's the masters of Bill and Ben fitting the property to the land. And it looks like it's been there. I have so many people tell me, how long has that golf course been there? And it's only been there 1.5 years. And that's just a testament to them. But fast forward now to Paynes Valley. You come over to Paynes Valley, and I mean, it is Dynamite City, Rockhammer City. I've heard Rockhammers for 3 years. I don't even recognize them now. Everybody comes out and says, how do you handle all that? I said, what? I don't even hear it because it's been in my, I've been hearing it for so long. I still hear them,
actually.
But just our finished product here, I've been giddy. John's been giddy. Our owner's been giddy about this project. Just wanting to show it to the world.
Yeah.
Tiger's team. You know, the philosophy on it is wide, big playing corridors. Don't want to lose balls. Want to be able to hit it all over. We have Zoysia fairways. Again, Meyer Zoysia fairways. A uniqueness that we got on Paynes Valley is we got Xeon Zoysia green surrounds and Xeon Zoysia tee boxes. To where we can mow down to about 250 to 300 on.
Do you like the Xeon? Does the Xeon work? You like the Xeon?
I love the Xeon.
Yeah.
I was a little skeptical about it. You know, I'd heard about it with winter tolerance and things. And, you know, Bill and Ben, we actually discussed putting it at Ozark National wall to wall. You know, that was their first choice. And at the time when we were grassing that, I didn't have enough experience with it. I didn't feel comfortable putting 95 acres of it down over there.
Right.
Having a mild winter or a so-so winter and having catastrophic loss. And you know, getting it here and some availability things is what kind of led us back to putting Meyer down and being able to convince them that I could manage it the way they wanted it to be managed. But when we came over to Paynes Valley, you know, they were talking about just doing maybe these, you know, 7-8 acres of it around. I was like, you know what? I think we could probably do that. And it'd be kind of cool to see it as a history or as a science experiment in a way. And if we have issues, you know, not that it's cheap and easy to do, but replacing 7 acres is easier than replacing 95 acres.
Right, exactly.
And so I'm telling you, I've seen that stuff lay. We've laid it well into late October, November into Thanksgiving, even into December last year. And it laid here sod on a 80-20 sand to topsoil mix, went through the winters, and we had some cold days. Not an issue.
Really?
And so I'm convinced that there could be more use of Xeon. I think it's gaining some traction, and the playing surface it provides. And
you could put it on 95 acres?
And things is good. I wouldn't be scared now after what I've seen from it. But the breathtaking views of Paynes Valley. I mean, it sits down in the valley from, hence the name, from the clubhouse.
Where's Paynes from? What's the word Paynes?
Yeah, so that's what I was getting ready to tell you. So the cool part about it is Payne Stewart. So Payne Stewart grew up in Springfield, Missouri. I don't know if many people knew that, but just up the hill where John grew up, naturally. So John wanted to pay tribute to Payne Stewart. Well, then Payne Stewart and Tiger Woods were pretty close buddies on the tour and everything. It was just a match made and really cool deal. And Payne's wife, Tracy, and just everybody. It's just been a really, really cool thing. It's a massive property. Massive. 85, 80 acres of zoysia grass and just massive, 40, 50 acres of rough and greens, big greens, 7,500 square feet greens. I hear that people playing there now tell me versus like Ozark or Buffalo, it's a little more, you can slap it around a little bit, but it's got fescue bluegrass on it only from the aspect of it's to slow your ball down before it rolls off the edge where you can't find it. Yeah. But just the contrast, the white bunkers, all of our properties got white bunkers. John's got an affinity for white bunkers. Yeah. It's got stunning water features on it, recirculating water features. And then at the very end of it, it's got the 19th hole that everybody talked about, that saw on TV. And
it's everybody's talking about it. You know that. I mean, a lot of people talk to me because they know I know you and I know the property. But it's like anytime somebody brings up this property, that's the question that they ask. Is it really like that? I think to stand there, it's absolutely outrageous. It's out of this world. Go ahead. Tell us.
It's Johny Morris's hole.
It's beautiful.
And Tiger let him do it. And it's an ode to his vision and his ability to just see it. Like when we're building this thing, I'm like, what are we? Holy smokes. What are we?
You said that to me once when we were on property. What are we doing here?
And it just kept going and going and going. And I think there's some pictures floating around. I think during the telecast with NBC, they showed some time-lapse photos. That's no joke. I mean, 3 weeks out, I had people out here in my ear, and John going, are we going to get this done, man? You got the weight of the world on you. Are we going to get this done? Are we going to get this done? And, we had no water in the lake, no grass on the green, no grass on the tees. We had no bunker sand in. 3 weeks out.
3 weeks out to that broadcast, you had all of that was missing. I did not know that, man. That's you haven't seen your family.
Yeah, there's a picture on Instagram of my owner's son, John Paul, his Instagram page. He has a picture that was 3 weeks out and then the day of the event.
That's amazing.
Pretty. I mean, being in the heat of the battle,
you can't see it. Yeah, you're in the middle of the true forest. You can't see it.
I was right here, trying to get stuff done. But it is truly the capper to the property. I mean, it is John Morris to a T. Cascading water behind it, nature, rock, going up this unbelievable cliff that he's uncovered.
Yeah, I bet.
200 feet tall. And you're going to traverse up this cliff in your cart when you're done, past all these water features. So we built a cart path up a cliff, which was an interesting learning experience for me.
Yes, I can say.
We got bridges hung across ravines at about 80, 90 feet in the air. Water coming down behind it, and then you're going to go in a cave at the top. Right now, we're putting the finishing touches on the cave. That's what you heard that phone conversation earlier that we were talking about. Is all the projects that we're still fine tuning a little bit, and just an unbelievable capper to an unbelievable place. And wow, it's all about nature, man. It's all about connecting people and getting people and the views and just the beauty of the natural. And it's he's got a knack. He's got an eye. Putting it where it's supposed to be. So.
Well, I hate to say this, but we're up against our hour, and I'm going to try to keep us tight. But I can't thank you enough for for your stories, which are always phenomenal. There's a lot more. We're going to have to do this again because I think we could easily run another hour out. And I needless to say, want to thank you for your friendship and everything you've shared with us over the years. And if anybody ever has an opportunity to go down to Big Cedar, I mean, it's spectacular. It's got to be one of the premier golfing experience. You've got to be hammered right now, I'm guessing. With COVID,
we are. I mean,
on.
that event on NBC with Paul Azinger and Dan Hicks and everything. We were getting busy, but that event just pushed us over the top. And it has been that response has been just unbelievable, and it's been fun to see, and super happy for John.
Just what you need, a brand new golf course and a whole bunch of people running all over it. That's got to be great fun. I'm sure that Steve Johnson, your superintendent out there, is having a great time on that. But I would encourage.
That's a good point. Steve and his crew, man, it's unbelievable just what they battled through, and I mentioned the quality of guys, but Justin at Top the Rock, and Justin Thomas, and Aaron Lorenz here at Buffalo Ridge, and Juan Berrigan at Ozark, and then Steve at Mountaintop in Paynes Valley. I owe a bunch of gratitude to those guys.
Great team, and we're thrilled to be a part of your team, and love working with you, love talking to you. Would love to have you come to New York and visit. That's still on the table. So,
I'd love to do it.
If it ever opens up again, if we ever have a real world, we're going to keep pushing you on that one. But thank you, my friend, for joining us. And I appreciate all your support, and please, I'll write you a note to Johny if you need just a couple days off, go visit your beautiful wife and your daughter, and go relax a while. 'Cause I can't imagine what you've been through in the last 4 or 5, I don't know, 6 years now. It's just seems like it never ends, but good luck.
It's been an experience that I'll cherish for the rest of my life. And it's been a lot of hard work, but one that I feel very fortunate to be a part of. And, I can always say that whether I'm here or gone or wherever I am, that
you've been there.
This was
Look what you did.
Just, you and Kirk and everybody, your friendship, ditto on that. And appreciate that.
One last question: is there another golf course in the on the books, or is he? I can't imagine Johnny's going to stop. He's an Energizer bunny, man. I mean, I can't imagine he's going to stop.
He's an amazing man. That's a question I get a lot, especially during the day of the event. And as of right now, and I'm not holding anything back, there is nothing. The thing that we're working on now is finishing this 19th hole.
Yeah.
We're building some cabins for guests to stay in out here at golf, buddy trips and some things, some infrastructure things. So that's where our focus is right now.
Well, if you haven't been down to Big Cedar Golf, make the trip because it's well worth it. And again, thank you, and thank everybody for listening to the Earthworks podcast. We are available on our website at Soil First and everywhere that podcasts are found. So we'll be doing this on a regular basis, and I hope we can get you back and chat a little bit more because this has been fun. Thank you so much.
Anytime.
Thanks.
Thanks.